During the rise of the Empire, the Emperor's home planet of Naboo rapidly established itself as a major irritant. Her newly elected queen broke off diplomatic ties and began exploring military options. Clearly, it was time for a regime change. A change that would be affected by the 501st. Our orders were simple: to infiltrate the city, take out their leader, sending a clear signal to other potential troublemakers in the Empire. It was the first time the 501st was called upon to adjust a planet's government. But it wouldn't be the last.
Welcome to the Jedi Ranger. I'm JohnBerry555, and I've been thinking about how regime change in Star Wars has been depicted. And I'm not talking about like the Rebel Alliance overthrowing the Empire or Palpatine transitioning the Republic to an Empire. No, I'm talking about when one political actor in the Star Wars universe, so like the Galactic Empire, decides that a planet's local government is not compliant enough with the Empire, is not cooperative enough, is not letting the Empire do what they want. I've been saying that lately for some oddly specific reasons. If you know, you know. By the way, in Star Wars, when we ever generally see that like the Empire do regime change, it's normally because the planetary government is the actual good guys. Real life can get more complicated, and I know this is a difficult concept for some people, but two wrongs do not make it right. Just because the previous regime of a country was bad does not necessarily give another country the right to overthrow that regime in violation of their own laws and constitution, and without the approval of their country's legislative branch of government. Especially when the other country involved has not led a direct attack on that country or an ally of that country. I hope I made my points clear. I think you understand. But in Star Wars, especially in terms of the story as well presented, whenever the Empire overthrows a planetary government, a local regime, it's because the local regime is basically a rebel sympathizer. You notice I played a little bit from the 501st Journal in the original Star Wars Battlefront 2 game at the start of this video, and I chose that for a specific reason because in that game, in that mission that clip came from, the Empire decided that the Queen of Naboo was not cooperating enough with the Empire by hiding Jedi. The Empire is an authoritarian regime, mind you, and it cracks down on freedom of religion effectively because of that. There's a bunch of other ways we can interpret everything, but the point being is that in Star Wars, while the narrative of Battlefront 2's campaign was from and is from the perspective of a clone trooper who willingly served the Empire and didn't, desert, the context of the universe presents what the Empire was doing there as wrong, as interfering with the local affairs of the government. And we have other stories in both Legends and canon where the Empire creates a regime change to get a more cooperative leader in charge of a planet. Let's saw from Star Wars Rebels in canon. Governor Ryder was removed because he did not do enough in the Empire's mind to stop Ezra Bridger's parents from transmitting anti-imperial messages. And then Governor Price came in. I gotta reread the Thrawn novels to exactly remember exactly. Was it a direct replacement or was there somebody between them? But it doesn't matter. The point being is Ryder was not compliant enough with the Empire, so they made a switch. And that's generally how Star Wars has always presented it. It's in the context of the Empire removing a local planetary government or governor who is the legitimate ruler of that planet from the laws and customs of the planet, with somebody who would be compliant with the Empire's rule. We even see this in Star Wars Rebels again with Mandalore, where Gar Saxon and his loyal Imperial super commanders are ruling the planet rather than well, I was going to say Duchess Satine, but she's dead because of Darth Maul. But Bo-Katan or maybe another local Mandalorian clan leader who took control. But no, it was the one who was specifically loyal to the Empire that was given the place of command. And as we know from Mandalorian, Bo-Katan got in charge twice and failed both times. She may not be cut out for actual leadership. But the point being is she was not compliant with the Empire, and the Empire put somebody else in command, in control. And that's what we see time and time again in Star Wars. And even like I don't know if there's any evidence, or not evidence per se, but I don't recall any stories where the rebels institute regime change that's not, assassinating or getting rid of the pro-imperial government that is oppressing the people of that planet. So yeah, probably the Clone Wars is actually where we might actually get some more accurate stuff. Remember the Alderaan arc of Star Wars, the Clone Wars? The Republic couldn't invade the planet because, while they switched to the side with the Separatists, it was all done apparently correctly. So what does the Republic do? Well, they send in a Jedi team and one clone captain undercover in order to train up a local resistance group to overthrow the pro-Separatist government and reinstate the previous pro-Republic government. That is regime change 101. And it actually ended up being good in the long run for the rebels, but not for the Empire, because Saw Gerrera came from all that. I'm sure there's some... Oh yeah, duh. I just remember another one, the Mon Cala arc in Star Wars: The Clone Wars, where the previous king of Mon Cala is mysteriously killed. And now the planet is in the face of a civil war with the pro-Republic Mon Calamari and the pro-Separatist Quarren. And and all that goes from there. And that was clearly done by the Separatists to get a regime on Mon Cala that was in favor of the Separatists. And I'm sure there's several more that I am missing. Obviously, some kind of regime change that led to the Umbaran arc of the Clone Wars as well, because Umbaran was previously depicted before those episodes as members of the Republic, loyal members of the Republic. So, did the Separatists assassinate or remove a leader to install a pro-Separatist leadership government? We don't know, because that's not the point of that story arc. But the point is that regime changing that, well, the sides are maybe not as clear cut, is definitely probably more common in the Clone Wars. And I'm sure there's some legend story that I'm missing that is an even better example of all this. It's just something happened in the news recently that I wanted to kind of share. And Star Wars does have the habit of presenting regime change in more of a black and white narrative, even if that's not always the case in real life. Actually, I bet Star Trek has a way more complex example of this. I just need to rewatch a lot of Star Trek to find it, or read all the books. But because of some recent events in the news, I thought I would go through and recollect on the different ways regime change has been presented in Star Wars. As I've demonstrated, most of them are presented in a fairly black and white narrative way, without that much complexity, but the Clone Wars does definitely get a bit more complex, which also helps because both sides are ultimately controlled in the Clone Wars by a Sith Lord. But that's all I have to say on this topic. I just want to remind you that two wrongs do not make a right. So you can let me know your thoughts on all this in the comment section down below. And please keep the comment section civil. Thank you for watching my video. I do hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please be sure to give this video a like and share. Also, consider subscribing to my channel to stay up to date on all my latest content. In the meantime, thank you for watching, and as always, have a good day, a good night, wherever you are. May the Force be with you, always.